Ukrainian forces carried out a precision airstrike on Russian positions in Russia's Kursk region. A high-precision air-dropped bomb hit a hospital facility in the town of Tyotkino, where Russian personnel had gathered. The strike caused significant damage and casualties, targeting what appeared to be a makeshift military post used by Russian forces near the border. Drone operators from Ukraine's 55th Artillery Brigade played a key role in repelling a large Russian assault near the newly active Dobropilya axis in Donetsk region, according to Commander-in-Chief Syrsky. Russian forces deployed 24 armored vehicles, including BMP-3s, BMP-2s, and tanks. Ukrainian forces neutralized 20 of them during the assault. The 55th Artillery Brigade Zaporizhzhia Sich is one of Ukraine's most effective and battle-proven artillery units. Based in Zaporizhzhia, the brigade uses a mix of Soviet-era howitzers and modern Western systems like the French Caesar and Ukrainian-made Bodana. Known for high mobility and precision, the brigade plays a key role in halting Russian advances across eastern and southern fronts. The head of the Security Service of Ukraine reveals new details about the Operation Spiderweb. According to Vasyl Malyak, a total of 117 drones were used in the operation to destroy the enemy's strategic aviation. These were unique strike UAVs equipped with 1.6 kilogram cumulative fragmentation charges, meaning the drone burns through the aircraft's body and explodes inside, causing maximum damage to the target. The targets were missile carriers. The drones aimed primarily at fuel tanks, avionics, and missile mounting points. The operation took 1 year, 6 months, and 9 days to prepare, starting in November 2023. The people who built the houses, drone casings, didn't know they were for aircraft. Those who transported them also weren't informed of the mission's purpose. Russian customs officers had to be bribed to get the equipment through. Everything was kept strictly secret. Only the president and one SBU officer were aware of all the details. Russia often returns bodies of fallen Ukrainian soldiers in horrific condition. Sometimes it's just a bag of bones, Maxim Tsutskiridze, first deputy chief and the head of the main investigation department of the National Police, revealed. In some cases, remains of different individuals are mixed in one sack. Kyiv woke up to horror. A Russian strike obliterated an entire apartment block entrance in Shevchenkivsky district. Strikes also hit Podilsky, Holosivsky, Sviatoshinsky, Solomiansky, and Darnitsky districts. So far, 6 dead, 19 injured. Let's see what is happening in Iran and Israel. For the first time, Israel has destroyed an active Iranian combat aircraft. An F-5 fighter jet was struck while preparing for a combat mission. Footage of the strike was released by the Israel Defense Forces press service. Israeli air forces carried out strikes on Dezful airport in the southwestern part of Iran and reported the destruction of 2 Iranian F-5 fighter jets. The released footage confirms the destruction of at least 1 aircraft. This marks the first loss of an operational unit of the Islamic Republic of Iran Air Force. The jet was on standby in a state of heightened combat readiness. Short-range air-to-air missiles resembling AIM-9s or their local equivalents were already mounted on the external wing pylons. The aircraft was also connected to a ground power unit cable indicating pre-flight preparations. As of 2025, the fleet of this aircraft type in the Iranian Air Force is estimated to consist of between 30 and 60 combat-ready units. These jets serve a support role in patrol and air defense missions where deploying the more powerful F-4 Phantom and F-14 Tomcat would be not rational. Recently, Business Insider journalists released satellite images of Dezful Airport dated June 17th, confirming the deployment of a line of F-5s on combat alert. 2 aircraft are connected to ground equipment for pre-flight preparations, while another 2 are positioned on the runway. Another pair of jets is most likely non-operational and stored in an improvised holding area. As a reminder, the Israel Air Force has previously struck Iranian F-14 fighter jet parking areas at air bases in Tehran and Isfahan at least twice, destroying a total of 5 aircraft. However, these jets were non-operational and had been stationary for years, as confirmed by satellite intelligence. This is not surprising, since after the Islamic Revolution, Iran lost access to spare parts and technical support. The fleet of operational American fighters has significantly dwindled over nearly 50 years. It is known that until the 2010s, the Iranian military carried out several upgrades and maintained around 15 to 20 F-14s in service. Between 2022 and 2024, a few F-14s were still spotted in the air, but there were also reports of crashes. Nevertheless, by the end of the first week of the Israeli air operation, no significant losses of Iranian aviation had been recorded, aside from the strikes on the aforementioned F-5 jets. This may be explained by Iran's preemptive relocation of all operational aircraft to underground shelters and bases in the eastern part of the country. An Iranian oath to potential nuclear weapons production and ballistic missile capabilities. It is worth noting that due to the lack of an effective air defense system, Israel is able to conduct flights over Iranian territory with almost no resistance, striking both neutralized air defense positions and military targets, including airfields. Militarny previously reported that Israel had destroyed an active Iranian combat aircraft for the first time. An F-5 fighter jet had been shot down while preparing for a combat sortie. A Russian Navy warship has openly escorted sanctioned oil tankers through European waters and the English Channel, marking a rare and provocative move amid ongoing efforts to enforce sanctions. Analyst Mark Douglas, who tracks maritime activity using AIS transponder data, reported that on June 16th, the Russian corvette Boykai, hull number 532, met the oil tanker Sierra in the Mediterranean Sea. Sierra is subject to sanctions imposed by the UK and the EU. The corvette escorted the tanker through the Strait of Gibraltar into the Atlantic, where they were joined by a second sanctioned tanker, Selva, which sails under the flag of Palau. The two tankers under Russian naval escort proceeded together through the English Channel and into the North Sea in a transit that lasted 3 days. Douglas noted that the operation represented an open demonstration of Russian military support for its Shadow Fleet, a network of commercial vessels used to evade international sanctions on oil exports and other restricted goods. He characterized it as a test of Western resolve to enforce sanctions and confront potential escalation. Russia's Shadow Fleet typically includes tankers and cargo ships operating under false flags or obscure ownership structures, often without insurance or proper classification. The incident follows earlier reports of similar naval activity in the Baltic Sea. On May 14th, Estonia attempted to intercept the tanker Jaguar, sailing under the Gabonese flag in the international waters of the Gulf of Finland as it headed toward the Russian port of Primorsk. Estonia deployed a patrol boat, an M-28 Skytruck surveillance aircraft, and an Augusta-Westland AW-139 helicopter. In response, Russia scrambled a Su-35S fighter jet to cover the vessel. Jaguar ignored orders to alter course and eventually anchored near Gogland Island in the eastern Baltic. Portuguese F-16 fighter jets stationed at Emari Air Base, part of NATO's Baltic air policing mission, were also mobilized in response to the standoff. Earlier this year, Finnish Defense Minister Antti Häkkänen warned that Russian naval escorts of Shadow Fleet tankers in the Gulf of Finland could become routine, complicating efforts to monitor and enforce sanctions in the region.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Every day. We had a guy last week, it's 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.